Hi, welcome to Grim Year Wednesdays. My name's Judy and I run Quiet Year Records. This is a collaborative effort with Grimalkin Records and rumblepak. We're talking with some creative people who use some interesting things while raising money for Virginia Anti-Violence Project. They're an organization that supports LGBTQIA plus survivors of violence in so many different ways and do a lot of great work. There's an organization like that near you. If you're not in Virginia necessarily, please do seek it out. Donate to one, to both, to all of them, anytime, all the time. Become a recurring donor even. That would be really cool. But mutually it is really sweet. So let's get that going. And also get into tonight's guests. We're gonna be talking with Ruben from Soul Glow, amongst many other bands, booking just a Screamo DIY legend over here. Ruben Chua from the Philippines, who runs Genjitsu Stargazing Society, performs as Memoryville, also runs United Cassettes Philippines, does a lot of really great things all over the world. And so it's going to be a great time. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Kurvine, Ruben, how are y'all doing?
Hello, I'm good. I just woke up. Oh wait, no, I did not just
No,
wake
that's the
up.
opposite.
I did not sleep at all. Yeah. I'm so sorry, like my head is messing with me.
That's so funny. Ruben, how are you doing?
I haven't really slept much either. I just saw an old friend, so I'm feeling very like nostalgic and emotional at the moment in a good way. But it's all right.
Everybody kind of focusing on Ruben's part. So Ruben, hello. You are, I'm just gonna go ahead and just jump out the bat saying that you're in Soul Glow, which is cool as hell. And y'all recently put out some singles for your new album. If you could describe, how would you describe some of your feelings around this new album that's coming out?
I've been really excited on it for a while just because it was the first time we kind of like did it all for the most part ourselves, except for like the mixing and mastering. But Gigi, our bassist, recorded the whole thing with help from like two really nice people from Big Mama Studio, Evan and Chris. And I don't know, it's been fun, tried new things, had had horns on a record for the first time, and then like Angel's song that hasn't come out yet. Like I'm still really like excited for the song that she's on, and just I don't know. It's been a nice long wait. It's just nice to like be active in that front in any way.
For sure. I think that's something that I've noticed about y'all's work is the kind of like longevity that y'all keep in mind. For example, the song with Angel that you just kind of like mentioned before, that's like on like the next album, correct? Like that's not even on this one?
Actually, yeah, actually it is. It's a song called 2K, and I know we were talking about people for the next thing because we're pretty deep into that right now, but nah, Angel is definitely on this one. We were fighting between putting that out as a single or the one that just went up for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. I mean, y'all are elusive. So I feel like it's just like kind of fun trying to figure out what like the dirt is. Yeah, something I've also noticed about the band is I don't know if this is like something that y'all do regularly or maybe something that I've just noticed more recently is I think y'all's relationship with the lyrics that you have. I don't know if this is like a more recent thing of kind of posting them without deleting them like an hour later and like leaving them up. Could you tell us a little bit about how that has been?
Generally, like before most of the music does get written first, but at the end of the day, at least I don't want to speak for everybody. I really feel a lot of emotion towards the lyrics. And it's the first time I've been in a band where like I felt like I could resonate with what was being said. And I think that most people will listen to it and not even actively try to find out what the lyrics are. They just hear pure screaming a mile a minute. And like that's why I like to keep the lyrics up, because to be like, no, it's not. At least like there's more to it than that, and like that's almost more important at times.
For sure. I mean, I think something that has come up a lot actually on Grimier is the kinds of ways that we want our artists to try to get people who are consuming the things that we make to like understand our perspectives. You know, we're trying to like be as clear as we can, and then at the end of the day, how people perceive things and receive those things and relate to them is kind of out of our control. And I think lyrics are definitely one way to get there. But again, if people aren't even, you know, if people don't read the lyrics, then that's kind of just like something that's missed. And that message is there that you can't necessarily hear from the guitars, but it is there because, you know, it is all one piece, but it's hard to get all of those elements together.
No, I definitely agree. It's been kind of it's a weird thing because we think we keep the lyrics up, but then like we've had reviews where people are like, I got the record and there were no lyrics in it, and we were like confused a little bit. And then the problem is even with lyrics up, people tend to misportray it sometimes where some of it is more personal. People automatically just assume that because it's being yelled at, it's like, oh, it must be political, which is like to a degree, I guess, true just because like the existence of it in itself. But I don't, not everything that's said because of being like black punk band or, you know, even like a POC band necessarily has to make it automatically, does not make it automatically political. The existence makes it political, but like sometimes it can be just like more personal things. It just happens to evolve around a whole bunch of other things.
Am I going to be corny if I'm like, but how do you separate the personal from the political?
As you stated, it's kind of like once you give it out to the world, it's kind of like everyone else's to perceive. So if everyone's going to perceive it in a different light, you might as well give them the lyrics to at least like be like at least quote it correctly, because you may not like be able to understand it in like the speed it's said. Because yeah, anytime something leaves your hands from an artistic point of view, like once the people have it, it's no longer yours. You can try to explain it as best, but people will get from it whatever they might need or don't need, depending on who it is. It's kind of a weird, yeah, I find that the one weird thing about sharing lyrics and words with people and like art is just like you have to kind of separate it before you can take it to a personal level, because it's just you might get caught up in emotion because of people's opinions, and you kind of have to keep like know that in your heart like what it is. If that makes any sense.
It's all still like your art, and so in that, you know, that care, that passion that's there, it's like it's really hard to try to share that with people, and it's a kind of like an intimate thing. How has that been with like the reception of the messages like from the album, the music? I would go ahead and even bring in the fact that it's through Jeremy Bolm's record label. That's really cool too. I don't want to like it's been a long time coming, so that's been really cool. How has that been kind of pushing forward towards this way and like seeing these things that you've been working on come to fruition?
I mean, it's definitely in like on one hand it's felt very different, but it also just like it kind of always feels the same to a point. It's like really nice because of Jeremy, his kind of sorts helping us and helping promote it and things like that. He's been very nice and very helpful and very supportive. Definitely some of the weirdness that comes with like some new people listening to it, that like either like there was a lot of old white men who were not happy with the name of the record, and they're like, it's just a stupid meme, like how dare they write the word heat and like blah blah blah, and we're just like, you know what it means though, so why are you upset about it? Like, what is the big deal about this one word? Like, it's a word that people have used, still use. You can find it on the internet. You can probably look it up and get, like, if you don't know the term, you can find it online pretty easily. But people took it kind of like a discredit towards us, and that's it. Something that comes with like brand new people who like don't know you before and just meeting you. as a music, I guess. It's been fun to get things going. It's also just been like terrifying because like again trying new things and like weird backhanded compliments from people in funny ways. Where like one magazine was like the snare sounds like bad new metal and the vocals are terrible and sound like black metal, and then hit us up today being like, hey, so would you like to share the rest of your record and like give us a playlist for our magazine? And it's just like, is this how this works? Like very confused. Like it's been a very confusing back and forth, but I mean, I guess for the most part, like just excited that it's out. Can't wait for the whole thing to come out because once the rap song is a thing out and once some of the other songs, I'm curious to see how people feel about it and like some small changes or different aspects added to it.
For sure. I think something that I don't know if everybody knows about you is that other than Soul Glow, you have quite a few other, you have a history of other music projects, and also you've done booking throughout the years, which I thought is really, really cool. That kind of work is so thankless. So I just want to go ahead and say thank you for doing that so relentlessly. Yeah, I feel like your impact has like even reached to Richmond, and so that's really cool. Just to like know that you're still doing stuff. Could you describe for us like a little bit of your experience, kind of being someone who booked shows for a long time?
Most houses flame out. Well, in Philadelphia, there's a lot of quick like 6-month flashes, like college houses, and then once you get past that, and they're like slightly older people, then it's like you might get a year, 2 years. Some of the more long-standing houses might make it to 4 or 5 if you're like really lucky, and new people who move in are like really about it. It's kind of like always like at one point I ran a Tumblr to try to keep every flyer I could find in Philadelphia of any shows going around. And at one point I remember it was something like 20 something active DIY houses if you looked hard enough in Philadelphia. But this is also like 2011. And it was just like a really cool thing to like, whoa. It was a really cool thing to like kind of witness happening. It's just how many people, like how many houses were existing in like different genres, or like some houses only did noise and then like emo, and then like some houses were just like more like weird grind bands or like whatever like it called for. I don't know, it's been 10 years. It would have been 10 years of booking this year. Something like, there was a couple years where I did like almost 200 a year. It was like between 150 and 175. It was like 4 nights a week. I was just like,
The hell? Oh my
I
god.
like work at a venue that like ended by 9. A kid would like partially be running a show that I had. I'd run back to that house, and like depending on how money was, like I would literally take money from the job I just got that was under the table and just like hand it to like the next. Just like thanks for coming. All right, bye. And just like it was a very intense few years of just like every other night. It was just like it was rough on relationships. It was rough on just like mental health, and I'm thankful for it. A lot of my closest friends have been through it. I've met through it, and then met you through that as well. You definitely put out one of my old band's records, and I don't know. It's been nice, like people like Mitchie and like even Sid, who's I can still see their picture in the corner of my screen. Like great people meeting across the country from either touring or like just allowing so many people into the home. And I wish I would have taken like 20 shows off a couple years, but like I have like no giant regrets. And it's been nice to see new younger people like do their own thing, get their houses, and like watching it being different from like what it was like in 2012 and like back and forth aspects. It's not lost on me how privileged and thankful I am for that and even like this period of time in my life connected to DIY and booking and house shows.
For sure. I think something that you brought up that sparked my eye It's the kind of like generations of like DIY scenes and spaces that happen. And I think part of like the reason why that happens is because it's like it's kind of dangerous to do it depending on like who you are, where you live, or like, you know, if your neighbors suck. Like there's so many elements to like why there's not enough like good, safe like event and show spaces. So it's like whenever they do pop up, they're kind of a godsend. But at the same time, it's like seeing those cycles of like something coming up and then it kind of falling apart and then something else pops up in its place. I think it can be really tiring, and like in that even me kind of like kind of wearing on the soul to be into something so hard and then also let it go and like do that over and over and over again in like so many different areas of your life. Do you have any advice on how to not be 3000% jaded throughout all of that?
Remember that you are also a person. Cause like at least I can say for me, like for at least like part of it, I was doing it because that was what I felt gave me purpose in a weird way. Like I felt like, oh, like this is how I help. Like I don't know many things. I don't know how to do many things. I'm not the smartest person, but like I can get a PA and like hopefully like 20 kids into this house to watch. And I was like, I felt like that was like at one point like the only thing I was capable of doing, and sometimes not even that good at that. It was just kind of like it's just what made me feel like that was like my place. But then, and you know, seeing people come and go, because at least in a college town, I feel like it's a 4-year cycle of people. I feel like a lot of people are in it for the duration of like school years, and then like once it ends, they're just like, all right, I'm gonna go be a person now, and it's just like, okay, and just you just see the next group, and then they get excited, and it's cool to kind of watch like new people get excited about something that you've loved for a really long time, and then like watching their like way of doing it, or like the new big house. Like we had Everybody Hits, we had Golden Tea House. There was like a place called Cloud City that was really dope for a while. That did like 5 shows a week, like, but they were like mainly like punk and power violence and power pop, and like you know everybody has their place and everybody like does a thing. I think it's just important to remember that like you are more than the output you give.
This next question is kind of sparks off the part where you mentioned that doing these things, I don't know if it would be a stretch to kind of like generalize that to like being involved in DIY music in general, but that sense of purpose for you, would you, yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, that
Okay,
that
yeah.
was definitely my sense of purpose. I was, you know, had no therapy, no like I wasn't I didn't have much money. I knew that I really loved music, and like I'd gotten kind of into that part of my life like really late in life
Hmm.
for what generally I see come in. Like I was maybe booked my first house show at like 24, and then like I was like after being homeless for a while, and then like moving to a place I was trying to figure out like, all right, this is how I can give back. Like I'll do some shows here, and then that was just like the only thing I knew. And like it was definitely like me being unmedicated or really trying to deal with anything besides like I have to do this. Like this is what I have. Like and
Hmm.
yeah, it wasn't the most healthy thing, most definitely, and definitely like not the most fair on like the people I've lived with over the years. Like I wish I definitely could have gone back and like maybe like at least for their sake and my sake just like toned it down a little bit. But most of my neighbors were fine with it over the years. We usually spoke to them, or like there was some form of like understanding. Not at first because I didn't know better, but in time, like once I realized that that like had to be a thing, like establishing community, it got a lot easier over the years.
For sure. Um, yeah, I think something that has kind of hit a lot of people in light of the pandemic and having live shows and tours and things like that kind of taken away from everybody, just kind of like the rug pulled down or pulled out very, very swiftly. It's kind of really messed with people's heads and kind of I think it's kind of like shaken a lot of people into thinking about, you know, like who are they and what can they do without access to those specific things. Whether it's like being an organizer or an attendee or someone who just like supports from home, um, what have you, I feel like it makes sense, and I have definitely felt the kind of like aimlessness about like how do I continue when everything is different now, you know? And it kind of goes back to like, well, what did you want in the first place? So that's my question for you is what do you want? Um, what do you want? And this can be related to music or even just outside of that.
Wow, thank you for that. I've honestly, that's not something I've ever really thought about. I, uh, I mean, honestly, stability, and I mean that like across the board. It's just like I the one thing this pandemic taught me is just kind of like I need more stability because at first being home like drove me mad. And like it still kind of like puts me in a place of like a lot of anxiety and like I'm kind of like freaking out and I'm like smoking too much weed, smoking too little weed, staying up maybe 2 days in a row and just like it was just like it was
Yeah, it's hard.
and like I didn't know how to be comfortable with um the lack of like I don't even want to say things, just like a lack of just like knowing what my stability is in like my own within my own self, and then it became in my within my own home, and then like as things progress over the last few months, just like stability, just like the people like around me and like what was happening everywhere. It was just like it was just kind of like, and I'm still trying to figure out like what stability means to me in this period in time. But that's the only thing that like I know that everything else I want can kind of be tied into when it comes like stability.
For sure. And I feel like there's yeah, it's really hard. Especially like I think having like some structure is like healthy and normal for people. And so when things get disrupted, it's like, yeah, it's freaking hard to function. So that being said, are there any ways that we can support you directly right now?
Um, I've been in a weird spot with just like I went back to work, which has been nice. I went back to one of the jobs from before, and been at a bar. It's been like really kind of like one of the promoters at the job like posted an emo night, and all hell broke loose because obviously people are concerned, and like I understand that, and also like there was just like a lot of aspects that just like were left out when he put up the description, and I'm just like I should probably just stop working at bars right now, but I really I can't, and I wouldn't even know how to like ask for that help. I don't know, I guess if you are of any sort of spiritual type, please hope that people stop going to bars and that I can have my job still somehow.
Yeah, definitely. Um, my last question for you is is there anything else you'd like to say to the world or that you would like the world to know?
These are the things I would like to tell people. Uh, Listless is the best hardcore band in the country. Uh, Shouts out to those beautiful people. Black Punks is also an incredible group. I just want to give shouts out to a lot of friends. Also, shouts out to my friends in England, Katie. That band is really dope. I don't know. I guess if you have the capacity, reach out to your friends. If you don't have the capacity, reach out to yourself. And you know, that's really that's like all I got.
Thank you so much for sharing about yourself and your experiences. Yeah, it's really nice to have your insight and expertise. And thank you so much for all the work that you do in, around, and outside of music, and for just being you. Just want to give a quick transition to remind everybody that this is Grimier Wednesdays. Please donate to Virginia Anti-Violence Project if you haven't already at virginiavp.org, or an organization near you if you're not in Virginia that supports LGBTQIA+ survivors of violence. It would mean a lot to me and everyone you know. So next we're gonna go into a performance from Kurvine, aka Memoryville, over in the Philippines. Apparently it's really early right now, so thank you so much for doing this for us.
Okay, so I'm gonna be performing as Memoryville for this set tonight. Oh wait. "21, oh, could you be the one to heal my aching heart? Your hair on your glasses, can I tell you? Oh, every time I look at you, I think about the years you wasted when you hold my hand. Does it mean you like me too? When you tell me that you miss me, I could spend my day with you. Forever, ever, ever, forever, ever, 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 forever, ever, 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 forever, ever, 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 forever. Now you're mine. Oh, could you be the one and spend the rest of my life with your constant smiling to the 3 a.m.s? Oh, nothing else could matter, 'cause you're here by my side. I wanna die when you hold my hand. Does it mean you like me too? When you tell me that you miss me, I spend my day with you. Forever, ever, ever, forever, ever, 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 forever. You made me see something I knew I couldn't have. When you called my name and thought it to be strange. As you brought your hand to mine, I heard you humming a melody, so I sang along the beating of your heart. I don't know about your feelings, and I've lost my faith in mine, but I know I feel alright when I'm with you. And you say you've got a passion for living until you find the truth. But lately all you think about is dying. Wide awake, falling under night skies, dreaming of tomorrow. Washed away with the kids they don't believe in, but I believe in you. picture of the sea so you'd remember all the cold when it was over. And we'd talk about absurdity and laugh at our existence, and we'd stay up late. When we're drinking cups of coffee black to drive the pain away, I think my meaning is forever I'm with you. Now you say you have to go home, won't you stay until the day comes? How much more before we go our separate ways? Run away, falling under night skies, dreaming of tomorrow. Washed away, we're the kids that don't believe in, but I believe in you. Skies, dreaming of tomorrow, washed away. We're the kids that don't believe in, but I believe in you. Run away, falling under night skies, dreaming of tomorrow. Washed away, we're the kids that don't believe in, but I believe in you. Can we go back? Can we go back now? Can we go back to the time well spent when college days were nearly through? I held you close beside anything I knew about the world. One look at you, we were hiding from the raining shades of mid-November. I know those sighs, the ones that speak, rolling waves coming to life. I know you never feel it too. I know you, so leave it. Yesterday, we were hanging by the brightest moments, waiting for sunshine around the fire, a sparkle to those summer waves coming to life. In the night bus, we're running away to halfway there. dreaming. Close your eyes and breathe for all the days we lost. Coming to life. I know now I feel it's you. I know you, so leave it. I know now I feel it's you. I know you, so leave it. Won't you stay forever? I can't stand another day of all this getting older. So I've seen you in the haze of every ending, through windows suspending prescriptions. Stay with me and we could die together. It's a lonely world, but hey, we've got each other.
But if you're gonna go, I
It
suggest
needs to be now.
you need to go. You just need to go. Forget about everything else. Forget about money. Forget about.
I really agree. Yeah.
Just go.
Last song. happiness leaving me. Oh, what do you do when your heart hurts all the time? I wanna die, but not when I'm with you. With the way you look at me, with the sighs, with your head on your knees and your head's close to mine. I wanna die, but not when I'm with you. My honey, she wants to be down. My honey, she wants to be down. My honey, she wants to be down. My honey, she doesn't want to be alone. Going through this highway always reminds me of the lonely nights you'd ask me why. I wanna die, but not when I'm with you. What's the point of living when everything we've known will come to an end eventually? I wanna die, but not when I'm with you. My honey, she wants to be down. My honey, she wants to be down. My honey, she wants to be down. My honey, she doesn't want to be alone. My honey, she wants to be down. My honey, she wants to be down. My honey, she wants to be down. My honey, she doesn't want to be alone. I wanna die, not when I'm with you. I wanna die, not when I'm with you. I wanna die, I'm with you. I wanna die, but not when I'm with you. My honey, she wants to be down. My honey, she wants to be down. My honey, she wants to be down. My honey, she doesn't want to be alone. My honey, she wants to be down. My honey, she wants to be down. My honey, she wants to be down. My honey, she doesn't want to be alone. My honey, she wants to be down. My honey, she wants to be down. My honey, she wants to be down. My honey, she doesn't want to be alone. My honey, she wants to be down. My honey, she wants to be down. My honey, she wants to be down. My honey, she doesn't want to be alone. Thank you.
Woo, I'm ready to meet the sounds. Yay! That was so good.
Oh gosh, so it is true. It's more nerve-wracking to perform to a screen.
For sure. I mean, even in like a chat room, I'm like, sometimes I forget how to socialize, and I'm glad that I can be weird around my friends because it's gotten real weird sometimes. Yeah. Could you tell us, Kervin, a little bit about what the DIY scene, or like your music scene, was like, I guess, before things closed down?
Oh gosh, where do I start? I mean, like, the Philippines is definitely smaller than the United States, so I don't know. I don't know what kind of difference that makes, but there's also different genres, different scenes happening around here. Like the main area is because we're divided into Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, and Luzon, particularly NCR, Metro Manila. That's where I am right now. That's where a lot of the music stuff are currently happening. So there's the shoegaze scene, there's the emo crowd, like yeah, basically anything you can think of. Noise, like there's a room for that. Like so many good stuff, and like you usually see the same folks in the different scenes. So like sometimes you'll see somebody in an electronic gig, and then you'll bump into the same person in a noise set, and yeah, it's just really awesome.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that you brought up because like the Philippines are like technically smaller than the US, but the fact that it's islands and more spread out,
Yeah,
and like the fact that within that there'll be, like small like niche cultures and stuff too.
yeah.
I think that is something that's different about America. Um, Ruben or Squid or anybody in the chat room, how would y'all describe DIY in America? Like if we're, because Kervin, you haven't been to America, right?
Never.
Yeah, and I've
But
never
I've
been to
been
the
hearing about
Philippines.
it from my friends.
I mean, you should totally come sometime. Maybe not right now. Obviously not right now.
I'd
But
love
like,
to.
but yeah, like I mean, I understand like that is a hard question. I'm like thinking in my head, like, how do I describe like what the scene is like in America? And it's just like,
I heard that it's really easy to be inspired there. I don't know. I don't know. Or maybe like it's just a case of the grass being greener on the other side. But I don't know, based on pictures and videos I've seen, it is quite a bit different. I just don't know how it would be taken into account in terms of getting motivated to do certain things. Yeah, like it seems like when I mean, I've never been to America, but it seems like when I'm in the Philippines, it's like, I don't know, there's like a certain darkness. I can't explain it, but yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna put the spotlight on you, Ruben, because you have traveled the country. So I feel like you've seen glimpses of a lot of different DIY scenes. So I'm gonna put it on you. What is American DIY?
I mean, it's a really, depending on where you are, there's definitely different characteristics. I want to say smaller cities tend to have like a lot more diversity as far as like the type of people who will come, just because like it becomes more of like what's going on in that town, and like it's a much the experiences differ from like city to coast in any given space. Like Kansas City, a little bit more intimate. Those kids get a little bit more rowdy because there's a lot more drinking there. They're more of a like party-ish type of crowd, and like that's like the thing. And then like you go to Oakland, and then like you go play a show, and then like might be a DJ afterwards. There could be a party. There could be like I don't know. It can be more spread out. Like I know Philadelphia is a spread out community as far as like there's definitely like a specific metal crowd that maybe doesn't always like go to like hardcore shows and like screamo, emo. Like it really just differs from place to place. It feels like you're in a brand new, for lack of a better words, like it's like going to like a brand new country depending on like what part of the country you're at any given time. It's nice. It kind of reminds you that not everywhere is the same, even though there are similarities. Makes you appreciate if you have something good going on where you're from. It can really like make you appreciate that.
That's amazing because like over here, it's like everything is kind of interconnected. Like everyone knows each other in a way, and yeah, I don't know if it's just because I'm here and like you're all over there, but it seems like here in the Philippines, the culture right now in the underground scene is kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of toxic. Like most of the time, I mean, a lot of times, a lot of people just talk shit behind your back. Like there's a lot of crab mentality, jealousy going on. But then, like from what I've experienced from my online interactions with people there, they seem to be more supportive of each other, and I think that kind of contributes to why it's maybe easier to be inspired there. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I've, as far as like knowing each other, that definitely goes like by a genre. Like if you are considered a punk band through and through, you'll know a lot of the same punk kids throughout the country. Like you'll get connected in that way. But as far as like from genre to genre, not so much. Like if you're in an emo band, you're not gonna know a lot of the like hardcore kids in your town. And like there's just a little bit more spread out. But the things you mentioned are, I think, universal. Like I think in every community there will be some dramatic aspects and like definitely jealousy. It's not always the most helpful. Helpfulness just kind of comes from like you gotta build your own community in that aspect, or like find one that maybe works for you. Like you might find a group of people who are super supportive and like it feels like they represent the city and you kind of wish they did, but it's still just as different. So like it always exists. It's sad, but when you find the people that you enjoy, it is easier to get inspired and like do a lot helping each other, you know.
Yeah, very true. And it's also cool that you mentioned how like people from one genre don't necessarily know folks from another genre, because over here it's not unusual to find somebody in a post-rock band and then suddenly they're doing a chiptune set somewhere else. Like a lot of people I know here are like multi-talented, and it's like, whoa, that's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a thing that happens a lot too with like small scenes versus large scenes. Like I live in Oakland, but I'm from Southern San Diego, and it's like the scene that I grew up in was so small that you would have like, yeah, like crusty kids going to raves, and like it was like more people just wanted to be part of like a scene and just create. Whereas when you get in like bigger scenes, people start to get really cliquey and they think they can only like be in one genre or one style, and it can be really stunting and hard, and especially if you're like, you really want to be in a scene that is queer, has like people of color or black punks in it. Like it just becomes like there's so many layers that you can't be everything. You have to be one. The bigger the scene, I feel.
Gosh, I hate that. Like also especially when like people like when they like here over here when they get the least amount of dig, they think that no, I can't talk to you anymore. Yeah, like it's a lot of clicky stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's, I guess, comforting to know that it's not just an isolated thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think the phenomena of isolation, that's definitely, I personally think that's like just like a human thing, to feel lonely and feel isolated and to like want to connect with others. And so it makes sense to kind of just go for what you have and like see what's out there. I think it's interesting because I'm kind of noticing this kind of general trend of like wanting to find a community. And Kurvine, something that I think is interesting, the way that we got connected is through like social media and working on
Yeah.
like different like music and label stuff. Like you work on Genjutsu Stargazing Society and United Cassettes Philippine branch, Philippines branch. And those are things that I think I've noticed like kind of has like an international reach, like not just the Philippines, US, other countries as well. How has that been kind of finding that kind of community that's internet based, and also surrounded on by or surrounding your ideas and your project?
it's amazing. Like, honestly, I know that I want to kill my social media often, but then like when I think about things like that, I'm like, wow, like it's so easy to just go online and reach people in other parts of the world, and I think that's amazing. And yeah, like but generally social media is like pretty toxic in me, so like I'm trying to kind of stay off it right now. Like I don't have a Facebook account anymore, but then for some reason I opened Twitter, which I think is even more toxic than Facebook. But yeah, like it's so cool having been able to meet people like you. Like this would not have been possible pre-internet. So yeah, and like I for United Cassettes, like I'm surprised that people are interested to buy tapes from my store, and also even with my DIY label, the GSS. Like I'm actually surprised that I see people listening from Italy, US, Japan. Like I recently sent some tapes to this cassette store in Japan for my label, and it's just so amazing. Like, oh my gosh, like I never dreamed that I would be able to get like pieces of my heart here and there, spread them out to all over the world.
For sure. That's so sweet. Yeah, I mean, and it's really cool. It's the idea that like I think we were talking a lot about like seeing like the same people or like having your group of friends or like the people who you basically are around all the time. And I think it's like it is kind of natural or like, you know, you want to support your friends. You want to like, you know, listen to their art and come to their shows and stuff. And then when strangers are interested in it, it's just kind of like, whoa, wait.
Like you kind of have this guard up now. Maybe it's kind of like trust issues. Like I don't know. I remember when I was younger, like it's so much easier to believe in people, to believe in things. But then, like as I grew older, I started to have more of this sort of guard, and I don't know if that kind of makes people sometimes think that, oh no, why is that person acting like that? Yeah, I hope I don't come across like that, but I try to be as friendly as possible. Like I don't want to turn into one of the folks that I dislike. Yeah, and like regarding the interaction with people online across the world, like even if there's that wonderful thing happening, there's still this yearning in my heart because, like, you know, like they're just gonna be forever limited to from the computer screen. Like it's not like real life interaction where I don't know, you get to hang out. And I feel like during this pandemic season, a lot of the people I talk to are not from the Philippines. So like it's kind of difficult because like we're so connected, but everyone's so far away at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I can relate to that a lot. Um, yeah, it's interesting the ways that like people are coming together and the people and like the ways that like I'm realizing I like yearn for people in certain ways that I didn't realize that I like that was like a part of me before. So I thought that was really interesting. Um, where was I gonna go with this? I don't remember what I was telling you about. I don't
Oh,
know. That's
the
cool. I'm just kind of like ruminating on that. Yeah, no, because I mean, it's just like I feel like that's kind of been like a general trend for a lot of people, and it's like interesting because like when I think of a lot of people, I think of like the community that I have here in Richmond, Virginia. And then to hear you say these things that like just resonate so strongly, and you're like really far away. Um, fuck this pandemic.
yeah. I mean, even after the pandemic is over, we're also going to be far away.
That's
I'm
very true.
yeah. I mean, we can only ever interact with the people in close range. But then, like, I meet a lot of these people, and I think to myself, I wonder if I'll ever meet them in real life before I die. Probably not.
I don't know. You're not dead yet.
Yeah, but then like we've only got so little years to live, and like there's so many of these things that you want to do, people you want to meet, etc.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, sigh. Yeah, no, sometimes I literally just kind of like zone out and I'm like I miss people. And I never was like that before. I was very, very antisocial. So
Oh
it's kind
gosh.
of, yeah, it's kind
Yeah.
of like, I don't know. I think again, like kind of going back to what we were talking about with like Ruben earlier about having like everything stripped away and then you're left with nothing but yourself and whoever, if you like live with anybody, probably them too. Um, yeah, and it's like a really interesting place to be in, and kind of like reanalyzing yourself. I want to ask you actually the same question that I asked Ruben before, is I guess what do you want for the future? And this doesn't have to be music related, but it can be.
Um, well, right now, this country is pretty close off uh, to queer issues, and like that causes me a lot of stress. Like, honestly, I'm not sure if I miss being outside. Like, it's sort of like a love-hate relationship because like being confined here by myself, I don't have to face the stresses of having to show myself outside every day. There's a lot of shitty things that are always happening outside here in the country, and it triggers a lot of my dysphoria and other stuff like that. And I don't know, like I don't know. Yeah, so I just hope that people here in this country will, I don't know, open their eyes, or maybe I'll just wait for them to die out, the older generation here in the Philippines, because like I don't know, it seems like the youth here are the ones who are more active in these kinds of things. Like they're also usually the people who don't trigger those kinds of things in me. And there's also a lot of systems and structures here that are honestly super obsolete. And I just hope that that changes. I mean, like, I don't know, gendered washrooms for one. Like, I heard that in other countries, they don't have as much of that as we have here. I might be wrong. But yeah.
I mean, it depends on where. I think it's becoming more common though to have uh like non-gendered restrooms and they just say like washrooms or restroom or bathroom or something.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so that I mean there are definitely like little wins in that kind of thing. But there's still definitely a ways to go as far as like queer and trans folks in America. And yeah, and I yeah, in the Philippines as well. It's not the world is not a trans friendly place.
Definitely not.
So it's kind of yeah, I relate to kind of enjoying just being myself indoors.
Yeah, but at the same time, I also miss interacting with people that I care and trust, that I care
Yeah,
about and trust.
yeah, for sure. Are there any ways that we can support you right now?
Uh, I don't know. Like honestly, I'm just trying to support myself right now. But then, if people want to check me out, they can listen to my music. The set I performed just a while ago is under Memoryville. That's in memoryville.bandcamp.com. But I also have other music projects like Selective Hypnosis, and you can also check out my label, Genjitsu Stargazing Society, and my tape store. And I don't know. Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much. My last question for you, it's a big open question that I ended with Ruben as well. Um, what would you like to say to the world, or if there's anything you would like the world to know?
It's a really tough question. Like, I feel like I have to come up with an award winning answer because it's the final statement and I'm probably going to fuck up.
No, 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 no. Here's the award. So you already got it. You already got the award. So now it's just reaping. I don't know. It's fine.
What do I want the world to know? We exist. And I don't know, we're watching. Oh, that's such a That's such a stupid answer.
No, that's excellent. I want to tattoo that on my brain, honestly.
Oh,
We
you're just
exist
saying
and we're
that.
watching. I love that.
I'm gonna regret this once this gets posted.
Oh my gosh, no, I love that so much. I'm not even lying to you. Like that makes me so happy. We exist and we're watching you. Oh my god. Okay, well, that made my heart so happy. Um, yeah, and we exist is such a powerful statement. The oh gosh, yeah. And also the we're watching you, like, who's really trying to impress who here? Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Anyway, thank you, Kurvine, for being on the show. Thank you, Ruben, for being here as well, and for everybody for hanging out and interacting with us. Just want to give a final plug that you can donate to Virginia Anti-Violence Project. You can get a friend to donate to Anti-Violence Project if you can't, or a friend of a friend. Hit up your mom, hit up your grandma, hit up your neighbor's dog. Just get some money into their hands, please. Just reminding you that the link is virginiaavp.org/donate. So today we talked with Ruben from Soulglow, amongst many other projects, and also Kurvine from Memoryville, and also many other projects. This has been Grim Your Wednesdays. Thank you all so much. Have a good night.